city that listens deeply. It listens to poetry, to philosophy, to music, and to voices that speak from the heart. Which brings me to someone who has been a constant comforting voice in the lives of so many in this city. A man whose deep baritone voice many of us have grown up listening to, someone who has shaped the very soundscape of this city for decades on air. Uh, that is none other than Jimmy Tangree. Uh, Jimmy will be adding more depth to this evening's conversation. Jimmy has been entertaining and connecting listeners in Kolkata since the early days of FM radio. Today, as the head of 91.9 Friends FM, he curates sound and content besides driving engagement and connection in unprecedented ways. Many of us remember Direct Dil Se with Jimmy. It is not just another radio show, it has been a companion for many of us over the years. A show where you tune into on quiet evenings, late nights, long drives, or moments when you simply needed to feel understood. Jim's ability to speak directly Dil Se with warmth, honesty, and empathy always creates a shared emotional space. That same spirit of thoughtful conversation and human connection is what we will experience this evening. We have not one but two people with baritone voices today. We have amongst us its esteemed actor, author, Mr. Borun Chondo, a person who has acted with directors like the all-time great Mr. Satyajit Ray, Rituparno Ghosh, and even for pan-India movies. His book on Satyajit Ray, The Man Who Knew Too Much, already chronicles the rare understanding of the master's work. Sir, we thank you for your time. Today, as Jimmy and Kartikeya come together on this stage, one a master of connection through voice and community, and our author, a seeker of inner truth, articulated through modern narrative, we are reminded on why gatherings like this matter. This is not just another book launch, it is a meeting of minds, of memory and meaning, of where the reflective traditions of the city meet contemporary inquiry. So with great pleasure, I invite Kartikeya Vajpai and Jimmy Tangree on stage for what promises to be a heartfelt and insightful conversation. Thank you. Let the show begin.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What a beautiful evening. And this evening is all about not just talking, warmth, closeness, expressions, and we're going to hear it all. From a gentleman who's a lawyer, who's an avid cricket personality, into something becoming, unbecoming, and unbecoming, becoming. You know, generally life may, people want to become always something. You know, I want to become a doctor, I want to become a star, I want to become. But you know, having a book called Unbecoming is a big question mark. You really want to know what's it about. But Kartikeya, before we start and get into your book, honestly, when you were young in school, you know, we all have dreams. You know, when I was young in school, I wanted to be in the army, but I turned up getting to radio now. You know, so what was your dream when you were in school? Did you ever think, yeah, you'll become a lawyer, you'll become a writer? Mane, jo aap kar rahe ho, cricketer. Was that there already from a young age, or something happened and you slowly got into it?
Thank you, Jimmy ji, for such a warm opening, and thank you, Varunda, for being here, and all my friends who are present here, and our media friends. Thank you. Very grateful for the presence of all of you here, and I think it's a very interesting question, Jimmy ji. What you've asked me is that. And this is the theme of the book as well, where I'm talking about let life reveal its purpose. And I'm sure not many people here can say it with conviction that they become what they plan. Life always surprises us. It's a path which starts making sense when you look backward and join the dots. So this is what life has taught me. It has always surprised me with what direction it is taking me through. And it has taken me a number of years to realize that whatever planning that I had done, life was very smart. to outsmart me, but those things never happened. So while growing up, yes, I wanted to be a professional cricketer. I was fortunate that at the age of 11, I played my first national.
You're living your dream also.
Gee. And it was then that I was introduced to transcendental meditation. And unlike the kids of my age, I took meditation slightly more seriously, because I was also playing a professional sports. And so these were the moments when I could experience while playing sports and with the help of meditation, working on my attention span, that I could intuitively get into a zone which philosophers call the flow state. And I could intuitively guess what's coming next. But this was so accidental that I was always longing for how to get into this state at my will. I have no choice. It's choosing me. I am not able to choose it. And that became a question at a very young age. And I started exploring other than a parallel life of being a professional. Then later on I did my MBA, gave 5 years into marketing, and then did law. So this is one side of my life. Parallelly, I was always exploring this non-dual nature of reality through different philosophies like Tibetan Mahayana philosophy, Advaita Vedanta, reading Mandukya Upanishad, and also with the practice of the Kriya Yoga that I do now. And so I was always very inquisitive that how easily we identify ourselves with roles, designation, profiles, and then all our life efforts are going into fitting ourselves into that identity. This is what becoming is. We take the word becoming so seriously that we center our entire life basis that box, what you want to become. And if you see the nature of becoming, it's like trying to see yourself in the eyes of the world. And your sense of accomplishment comes from whether the world accepts it or not. And your idea of self-worth also comes from how the world is treating you. Now that is such a fragile state to be in. And this is what I explored, that the idea of self-worth should always come from within you. And that's the path of the unbecoming. Becoming is how you like to see yourself in the eyes of the world. And unbecoming is settling with who you are. You always, in the pursuit of achieving external validations, we are always looking for that missing link to feel complete. Wherein we are born complete, that seed of completion is already within us. It requires looking inward and embrace the path of unbecoming. So when you are not identifying with role, designation, titles, and you embrace your true nature, you will write many chapters of becoming without identifying with it. So I say that becoming is a byproduct of embracing the unbecoming.
Wow. You actually answered my second question. This is truly amazing. Now, what were you trying to unlearn or peel away when you were writing this book? Because it's all about unbecoming. मैं ये चाहता हूँ, मैं ये करना चाहता हूँ, I want to become this. And when your book was getting into it, you were peeling away, you were unlearning to put in your thoughts into that book. Because it's all about unbecoming. It's not about what you dreamt, what you thought. So how did you manage that? When you were writing the book, was it already there in your mind? Or while you were writing the book, you were unlearning and unpeeling yourself to come up with the unbecoming style of your becoming?
Jimmy, you are surprising me with your questions, because it is intuitively so aligned to the process through which I went through while writing this book. The very first thing that I learned when I was writing the first chapter, and in a way this book became a guru, started teaching me the process of writing. Because initially I used to take out a particular time in a day, maybe 6 a.m. in the morning, get up and start writing. And but it never used to happen. I used to struggle. Beyond a paragraph, I couldn't write anything. So I realized that I'm trying. And this made me realize the difference between trying and being. Being is opposite of trying. Trying, no matter how smart you are, it always has an element of pretense in it. And people can see it. And we are only trying to fool ourselves when we make an effort. And it's not like when you're trying, you can't write a book. You can. But it loses the charm, the spontaneity, the wisdom out of it. And so in my case, I would leave it there. I said, because it's not happening and I don't want to force the idea. And the book would start flowing surprisingly when I was under a shower. And then I used to
think
write it.
That time you were more relaxed. So I want to ask you this question. You were under a shower and your thoughts used to flow and you used to know what you wanted to write. So does a relaxed state of mind actually become very creative for an individual?
I'll tell you the science behind it. This also I explored while I was going through all this process and trying to understand what is it that, again, the same question which I had in my childhood. Why am I not able to enter this flow state? It is choosing me. I'm not able to choose it. So the science I explored much later as I started writing the book, that why it happened under a shower. And I used to write for 1 hour on my mobile and then copy it back on my laptop. Similar experience happened when I was driving. The book would start flowing. And I would park it, beside the road and start writing for 1 hour. And then copy it back, because I also realized if I don't write it there and then, it used to lose the charm. It never used to come again. And then I realized that it is not an art of chasing or trying. It's an art of being available to this present moment. So when you are taking a shower, the scientific explanation to it is that when a tactile sensation of a water droplet comes on your skin, it immediately grounds you into the present moment. No matter how self-consumed you are, whenever you go under a shower, in that moment it will bring you into the present moment.
More relaxed, as one says.
Same as with driving. You're bound to be observant.
So let's tweak it a little bit before we really get into your book. While having a shower, you're kind of relaxed, it kind of flows into you. While driving, you are attentive, you have to be attentive and you're flowing into the drive. So in life, everybody is full of tension. सोचते हो तो टेंशन, काम करते हैं तो टेंशन, जो भी करता है तो बड़ी टेंशन ही टेंशन. So before we get into the book, what is your mantra to a lot of people who are always tense in life to become, to actually unbecome and be more relaxed, be more ease in life? Because a saying goes, if you are not tense, if you are relaxed, generally you are very happy. बिना टेंशन का happiness होता है. If you are happy, the body works beautifully and it rejuvenates itself and becomes healthy. If you are happy and healthy, automatically success will come somewhere or another because you enjoy what you're doing, you're moving forward, you're letting your thoughts flow. So what is that mantra to unbecome and get yourself relaxed? Because everybody in the world today, irrespective of how happy they are, they still tense. I know it's a little tongue-twisting question, but...
No, it is not it's a very, very relevant question, I would say, and it is the crux. It is very simple, yet very complex. Because we all identify ourselves as a doer in life. So all the stress of the outcome comes on us. We think that outcome depends on us. But the science is that you're not a doer here. You're simply a medium for things to happen through you. Any person who has achieved any level of success in their life, you will immediately find them also very grateful. They know that it's a blessing, they've been chosen. Result is not in anybody's hand. Life is so complex, it can anytime surprise you.
Absolutely.
But all of us identify ourselves as a doer. And naturally it brings the stress of the outcome. And if you simply learn the fact through your own experience and exposure of life, because everybody goes through this, that things are happening through you, you're simply a medium. So for a medium, what is required? It to come into the moment and receive the wisdom. Now, this is the difference which I have spoken in the book, which is the difference between intellect and wisdom. We are mental beings. We engage mentally into things. Thinking has become a tool to find all the solution, right? But we ignore the fact that the nature has also gifted us another faculty. Other than being mental, we are also experiential beings. It also has given us an ability to observe and experience. And observation and experiencing things will never happen as long as you're thinking, when you're mentally engaged. And I give it a name. There is a chapter in my book called Rest in Action.
Rest in action.
Ji.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
You know, when you say you're in action, you can't imagine resting in action. So just tell us a little bit about this.
Absolutely. So rest in action is the union of stillness and action, which results into perfection. Now, if you see from an Advaitic point of view, Shiva is the energy of stillness. It's the silent observer in each one of us. And Shakti is this creative force giving birth to every moment. So you see, perfection in any action is the union of Shiva and Shakti. When your silent observer marries this cosmic movement, together they give birth to intention and manifestation. Now understand, they say that, and I can make you all experience it through your own profession. If you have a professional dancer here, you can ask her this question, that what brings grace in her movement? It's the stillness in her movement. If there is no stillness in the movement, the action becomes very restless. Ask a singer, what makes a sound interesting? It's the silence between two notes. Otherwise it will not resonate, it will not vibrate and resonate with the listener. So any perfection is a union of this cosmic movement and stillness. When you invite your silent observer along with your action, that is when you reach perfection, which is very important for a sportsman also, for an artist also, for a musician also, for a poet, and also for anyone who is indulged in decisions which matters to the ecosystem, be it a businessman or a thinker.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, so much intensity and deep the book is. What was that flash or that something which made you get into the book? Mane, you were legal person, you were a cricketer, so much happening, and of course, spirituality was always there. But what sparked you writing this book? Was there something which happened, or it was just one day you were sitting down, thoughts flowed, and you just kind of started penning down? Something hit you, or something actually the thought came in, or the spark came in, you know, because it's so intense, the book. I'm always rewinding back a little. So much of intensity and deepness in this book definitely had to come with a lot of thought, a lot of feeling. I would say direct dil se, because that's where it works, you know. So, what was that spark of the book?
See, I genuinely feel it's an experience of grace. And the beauty about grace is that anybody it touches, it generally motivates them to share it with others. This is true with any artist. You would see, whenever you find benefit in your own life, there's a natural urge to go out and share it with others. So in my quest of exploring how to be present, and I realize it is not easy to engage with the present moment. It sounds very easy, but it is not, because it's an act of courage. It's an act of dare, I would say rather.
Wow, I just love this point. Engaging at the particular moment in this modern world, act of courage and act of dare. So there's so much of challenge in today's world, so much of challenge. I think every profession, even a thought is challenging. So in this book, what are these 3 to 4 points which you would like to highlight, which can become unbecoming of all the tension, the challenge, and the way to go about life? Because each one of us would love to know those 4 or 5 pointers which you actually explained in the book, like which you did, rest in action, which was a beautiful line. So those 4 or 5 points which you actually try to bring out, becoming the unbecoming. And when you actually unbecome, there's so much more. As they say, you want to get a computer working again, you reset it, you clean it up, you format the entire computer on the hard disk, and then once you open it back again and reinstall whatever the important stuff is, it works like right. So what are those 4 or 5 pointers? If I had to ask you, I really want to improve my life, I want to go ahead in life. So what are those 4 or 5 pointers in your book which you believe in truly and you put it forward, which can actually make thoda sa difference या बड़ा सा difference, whichever way you look at it.
So there are three things for now that I would really like to discuss, and it comes from your question. One is, what is detachment? Second is the fear of unknown. And the third is the role of senses, how to train your 5 senses to come into the present moment.
That must be difficult, training 5 senses to come into the current moment of time.
They all are same.
Wow.
You work on one, the other comes complementary.
Wow. Let's hear this. This is very interesting, very different.
So as I was talking, that engaging with the present moment is an act of dare. It's an act of courage. The reason is that the nature of the present moment is very uncertain. And we as human beings, we love to predict all the time what the present moment would be, because we are too comfortable in what is already known to us. We don't like to use that faculty that I'm talking about, which is observation, and invite a fresh perspective. We get too comfortable into what is already known. And in my book, I have called it the cage of known. What you know often becomes your cage, your own jail. You're not letting a fresh perspective to come out of it, neither are you interested to move out of it. So why I say it's an act of courage is because the nature of the present moment is uncertain. You have to be comfortable. And it also talks about the difference between intellect and wisdom. Now, in our modern education, we consider them to be one, but they're not same. Intellect is your cognitive ability to comprehend a subject, memorize it, and make it a part of your experience. So whatever you know till date is your intellect. And our cognitive ability is something which you are born with. Some people have very high functioning cognitive ability, some people don't have. But unlike the nature of intellect, wisdom is universal. Anybody can access wisdom. All you have to do is come into the present moment empty-handed, like a beggar, and let the present moment guide you. You have to become a seeker. You have to seek through the present moment to get the wisdom. And your intellect will always come in between seeking wisdom. Because I know is also the seed of ego. It never allows a fresh perspective or to listen to the other person's point of view also. So I know is the biggest barrier.
And that's the universal thing now. I know it all, every
Yes.
time.
Yes. So simply, to embrace the present moment. There is a saying in English which says that sometimes in order to be smart, you forget to be wise. So to access wisdom, you do not have to be very educated also. You need to be courageous. Let the present moment guide you and start trusting it. We don't trust the present moment. Like I said, we think that we are the doers. We don't realize there's a bigger science operating.
And also one thing I've noticed, we always tend to carry baggage with us. Mane purana thoughts, so this will work like this has worked like this, why should we try? So, and it's a universal thing, we tend to carry memories, thoughts. It's good to have memories, but if memories prevent you from moving forward, I think that's the time one should start thinking, what am I doing? Do I unbecome and move forward, or I still be that becoming thing and carry on and lugging the heavy duty baggage of mine?
Jimmy, I have gone ahead and I have written it in a very controversial way because the attention span of the people is very low.
Absolutely.
So sometimes you have to articulate things controversially so that they pay attention.
Absolutely.
To it. So I've gone ahead and said that thinking is the curse to humanity. No result ever has come out of thought. Now I'll tell you why. What is the science of thinking? If you see, thinking takes you away from this present moment. Try doing it right now. If you are thinking, I throw water at you, you'll not be able to see it.
Actually, you're lost in thought, and by the time you react, it hits you, the water hits you.
So anything that takes you away from this moment when the reality exists can never show you a true picture. The art of thinking is digging information from your past. Now see, you're looking for a solution of the present or the future from your past. I know is thinking, right? And intuition is always of the future, correct? Thinking is always of the past. Thinking can never make you have a fresh perspective. You will always go back to the collection of your memories to find a solution of the future.
What a beautiful thought. Because the saying goes also, whatever has happened, they are memories. Present. Present moment in the word in itself is a gift, because the present word itself means a gift.
Exactly.
And the future can become what you do in the present. You can't say yaar future mein main ye karunga, but what you're actually doing in the present, leaving the memories aside, only then could you progress to the future. And people don't treat the present as a gift. You know, they assume that I know it all, as you said. A typical leadership situation also, when people want to think of ideas, either they feel, no, this is it, I know it all. Wrong perspectives, right perspectives, everything. So ultimately, as I said, one has to unbecome, or one has to unwind to actually rewind. Same goes with a toy. You know, when you rewind and when you actually purana toys jo the, when you actually take the key and turn it around and then it goes around, and then again, how does it start? The entire tension finishes, and then again you have to wind it to restart that.
That is what it is. And I've not stopped myself to commenting about thinking only. I've also gone ahead and addressed the word intuition. I genuinely feel that intuition does not have a place in dictionary. It's the most misunderstood word. Because our attention span is so weak, we see reality only in glimpses. When accidentally we come into the moment. If you see how a human mind operates, 90% of the time, we are either relating ourselves with our past, or basis that we are anticipating the future. We are never in the moment.
You're right, we are always thinking ahead. You know, whether a student is studying in class 10, they're thinking about their career. What will I do? A businessman starting the business, fine. He's thinking 5 years down the road, how will I exist? How much more money will I make? How much more money will I make year after next? So, but this, let me put it this way, isn't this the human psychic of thinking and thinking and thinking, future always, worried about, will I succeed, will I not succeed? You know, people are even worried at some point of time, will I get married or not get married? You know, literally. You know, will I be able, like suppose for someone who wants to be a singer, effort is being put in, but they are always worried about the consequences. By chance nahi chale. So this worry in a human mind, and especially if you go to see the male, the man, they can never be very emotional. It's more of masculinity, and they feel कि यार करके दिखाएगा, कोई tension नहीं है. So, if I had to ask you, as people move forward, especially in the male-dominated world, masculinity and emotion, how do they work about? Because if you go, you'll find 2% of men actually crying or putting tears across, or being an emotionally charged person. So how do they unbecome? Because the book in itself, see, human feelings are emotions. Women have emotions, men have emotions, and trust me, I think emotions are some beautiful moments in life when you think, when you realize, and you don't want to admit. So how would you tell the man, hey, थोड़ा सा unbecoming हो, थोड़ा सा emotion डालो life में, you know, love, care, kind. Don't only think about forward, don't only think about money, don't only think about I'm the boss. So if I have to rewind back and forward myself, how do I do it? Because it's all about unbecoming again.
Absolutely. Let me just complete what I meant with intuition. That why intuition is misunderstood. Because our attention span is not trained to be in the moment, we did just discussed that how we move from past to the future, never in the present. So we see reality in glimpses. The next day when something similar happens, we call it intuition. We say, "Arey, mujhe intuition hua tha. I had an intuition of it, and this happened." It's not intuition. Accidentally you were in the moment and you could see the reality the way it is. Now you have a memory of it. Next day when you say, I had an intuition, then you are connecting back to that memory. So if you see, when you are so accustomed of seeing reality in glimpses, accidentally when you come into the moment, It becomes so convenient to call these glimpses and give it a name, intuition. In simple words, it is reality itself. If you work on your attention span, you can be in that zone permanently.
So we are not even using a percentage of our thought and reality in terms of when
Not
we think.
thought, we are not using our faculty to observe things.
Okay.
So when I talk about Shiva and Shakti in union, you see, if you work on observation, it will naturally still you. You can't observe with penetration if you're not still. This is the Shiva, the silent, detached observer in you, right? So we are not using observation. We are always depending on thinking. Now, no solution has ever in this world come out of thought. Let me explain you how. Thinking only drains you of all your productive energy. And after contemplating for 1 hour, 2 hours, draining yourself, you will procrastinate and leave it for next time. In a board meeting, when 10 people are trying to find a solution to a problem, you will see after half an hour of deliberation, one person will come up with a very simple answer. And all 9 of them would be thinking it was so simple, why I couldn't think it. You couldn't think it because you were thinking. And that person got tired of thinking and came into the moment. Solutions always come in a spur of a moment. You see, every genius invention is a product of visions that people got. Be it Ramanujan's mathematical equations, be it Nikola Tesla's vision which he used to get and used to work on those experiments. It's an art of coming into the moment and being available. It starts telling you what it is. You will drain yourself thinking about a problem, it will never come. And then again, the examples that I gave you, maybe under a shower it will come. Maybe while you're driving it will come. So rather than wasting time thinking, if you keep the problem in your subconscious and be in the moment, maybe it will come in 5-10 minutes, but you'll waste 1 hour looking for a solution, draining yourself. And in our modern days, we have forgotten to be still while we are awake. It's a forgotten art. We only experience stillness when we enter into the deep sleep state. That is when your body recovers. But we are unable to do it when we are awake. Because if you start doing it, you'll never get tired. The state of flow which a sportsman or a musician enters, you ask them, they never get tired. Because stillness, as the quality of it, regenerates you. If you go still right now, absolutely still, that is possible when you use observation. Because observation stills you. Observation will have penetration only when you are still. You will start feeling your own vibration. That is nothing but Shakti touching you. You go still, you will feel your body regenerating, your own vibration. So this is the union. The moment you invite it, see, Shakti is it's like a camera lens. If you're moving it, the picture will be blurred. It's only when you go still, which is a Shiva quality, that the Shakti will appear itself. It will start touching you. So perfection is a state, a flow state, where Shiva and Shakti go together with you. When you invite your silent observer in your action, it regenerates you, it never lets you tire. And this is a forgotten art, how to be still.
Telling me it's absolutely forgotten. I remember, I think most of us when we get up from bed in the morning or we are lying down, first things we grab our phone to scroll through. I mean, it's a standard. I think it's become 90% of the population do that. Now, we'll come back to this unnerving of the 90% population, but if you have to look at your book in all seriousness, which chapter in your book truly moved you? And you've written the book with so much of blatancy and honesty. Weren't you scared? कि यार मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ, मैं क्या कह रहा हूँ, मैं क्या लिख रहा हूँ? Because it's so much in depth, it's deep, and sometimes you've come out very honestly and very straightforward. Weren't you a little nervous or tense? कि यार, I'm being so straightforward, I'm being so honest, I'm being so real. I hope everything works well. Weren't you ever worried? Or how did that come out? I'm just trying to understand your state of mind, writing so much of intellect, which is truly amazing. Which is connecting the points, connecting areas, which is truly human behavior and human attitude which needs to be worked on. To work on, you have to unbecome, as rightly said. Because you can't carry that same old bag. It's like they say, If you have to wipe out cancer, you've got to kill everything. You've got to go through all the treatments and kill only then cancer gets wiped out. But even if a small bit is there, after 6 months it will again get back into place basically. So, how did you do it?
So I would say it's a two question in one.
Yes.
Answer of your previous question is also in the same thing. That how do you let man experience his emotions? And also the fact that, does it not scare you? You're talking about a deep wisdom, how the world will perceive it. It's the same answer. What is creativity? If we address that, this answer has the solution for both the issues. See, creativity is something which is very fresh and unique to the eyes of the viewers or the audience, and also very personal for the person who's displaying it, right? So creativity cannot be a product of imitation, projection, or pretense. In very simple terms, creativity is that when you get the courage to embrace your own authenticity. Now, it's not easy. Why? Because you said the fear, how the world will see.
Absolutely. And that is a standard feature for everyone. What will people wonder? What will people think if I do this or if I say this? That's an overall for you.
And this is what blocks your creativity, because your throat chakra will open only when there is no hesitation to express yourself. Health, in any walk of life, is your most honest and true expression that comes out. Health in relationship is being honest and authentic.
Absolutely.
Health in your work is when you are being honest and expressive. Why people leave jobs? It's when their creativity gets blocked. They're not able to express themselves, and it's almost suffocating. So when you get the courage to embrace your own authenticity, that most honest expression that will come out of you, be it in the form of speech, action, music, art, whatever, even decision making, that most honest expression, that authentic version of you that comes out, this is what the world perceives as being creative. So in short, if you embrace your authenticity, which is an act of courage, because you'll constantly be worried about how the world is perceiving me, how am I looking in their eyes. Once you give up that fear, you embrace your authenticity.
And amazing stuff will come out.
If you embrace your authenticity, there is no way you'll not be creative in any walk.
This is wonderful, because in our life, we always continuously have to think and innovate. And you're right, absolutely. I've seen situations where people think for hours but nothing happens. And maybe in a split of a second, within 2 or 3 minutes, suddenly tube lights explode and a beautiful idea comes forward. But it's so unlike, where boardrooms and planning for years and happening for years, etc., over ideas which are again shifting. And if you look at the greatest, if you look at Bill Gates, they started off in a garage with a small little idea, they wanted to create a computer, and that became today Apple, that became Microsoft. I mean, so many things are happening around the world. Now, if I look at the book, a lot of your chapters are interconnected. So, if I have to tell you, interconnect A with B, B with C, C with D, how would you do it taking your book into account? It's just a pehla mantra, second execution, third. How would you connect the chapters of connectivity in your book through your eyes?
First step is to understand who you are. Understand the limiting forces, which is nothing but your own identity that you have formed yourself, which is ego. Then learn, get the courage to embrace your authentic version. If you explore authenticity, it's so wide that you will again try to put it in the box, trying to understanding it, give it a label or a name. It does not have it. You'll fail doing that. And ultimately, the rest in action, the chapters which I have written, and which I'm also talking about the role of your 5 senses, how to enter into this state of flow, which is the nature of flow is impermanent and constantly moving. This is what Shakti is. Now you're trying to be with something which is impermanent and it's constantly moving. Such a slippery place to be in. So the answer is that do not identify. That's only when you will move. The moment you identify with anything, you go into thinking mode. And that's when you leave the present moment. And the role of your senses, if you understand, is only to interact with the outside world. Your senses cannot make you see the awareness or the God consciousness or whatever name you want to give it, mindfulness, which is within you, because it's within us. It is not outside. And senses are designed to look outward. What you see, what you hear, what you touch, yeah, what you taste. The five senses are designed to interact with the outside world. It's only when you learn the art of resting your five senses that the awareness pops up, because it's within you. It's not outside. And you see any meditation, any form of meditation, what are they doing? They are first teaching you how to rest your five senses. You close your eyes, that's the strongest interaction with the outside world. So you're closing it. You're looking for a quiet room so that sound does not become a distraction. You're not touching anything, you're not tasting anything, you're being still. And when that rest is achieved, meditation happens to you. You don't do it. It's waiting for you to rest your five senses because they are very active.
As you said, I didn't choose, it chose me.
Choose me. Exactly. Because your true state is awareness. Senses are designed, that's why in Sanskrit and Hindi it is said that इंद्रियों को अपने वश में रखो. वश में कौन रखता है? Awareness रखता है. You take it like this, that the role of your five senses is only to receive command for an action. That's it. And there are two command centers from where the command comes. One is the awareness. Because the awareness knows which sense to put it on rest and which to use it in that action. So for a cricketer, because it's a story of a cricketer, sound is a distraction. There are 80,000 people shouting your name. If this sense is overactive, you'll never be able to see a ball which is coming to you at a 140 kilometer pace. You have 0.33 seconds to watch the bounce, the length, the movement, and hit it. It's not a product of thinking. You have to be your intuitive best. So, and in cricketing language, they have understood it in a way, they call it calming your nerves, because your nerves are connected to your senses, right? So it's an art of learning how to rest your five senses, and the awareness pops up. And then awareness takes charge of the situation, and you become a medium to take action. This is what the awareness is guiding you intuitively in this present moment. So,
this truly involves deep thinking, in the sense not thinking, but deep involvement of oneself. You know, control of the senses can actually define a very high profile amount of meditation when it goes to see. Now, today's world is full of problems. We have all of us sitting here with some problem or another. People are actually watching you. I think you're going live also, and a lot of people are seeing you. Honestly, I would like to ask you this question, because your book is all about unbecoming. Today, in this world of problems, tension, everything combined together, what would you like to say to every individual who wants to become successful and unnerving in life? You know, they don't, some bolte yaar tension nahi chahiye. I want to have a peaceful life and do well. So what would be your mantra for their success through your book?
Sir, it's a 2-point formula. One, embrace your authenticity. Start from there. Once you start embracing yourself, who you are, stop projecting outward who you want to be. There's always a difference. We never engage with the present moment because we come into the present moment with an anticipation of how it should be. Or, if not that, then we are seeing the present moment from the lens of our past. We never see it for what it is. It's like coming into the moment and looking for color blue. Now, I am in search of color blue. I'll not see green, I'll not see red, I'll not see yellow. So there are so many things the present moment has to offer you. But you're blinded. You're looking for color blue here. Even right now, psychologically we are trained in a way, if each one of you ask yourself this question, are you not looking for a moment better than this moment? Right now. The reason you don't engage with this present moment is because even in this moment you're looking for a moment better than that.
Absolutely. The mind is always moving and moving and moving. And you know, there's a line, see what thought did. Because 90% of the time, when too much of thinking, the destination goes haywire. So always see people, yaar, soch ke kya ho gaya? You know, that's the basic attitude. But in today's world, do you think with the kind of attention span, with the kind of rat race, with kind of everything going at high speed, Do people have time for themselves to deeply look within themselves and control their thoughts, control their emotions, control their senses? There's a handful who do it very well. But today if you ask someone to subah ko utke ye karo yaar chodo time nahi hai main ja raha hu. You know, that's the first reaction. What do we do in this case?
You don't have to do anything. Life is already doing it for you. We are not present to it. That's why I say that let life reveal its purpose. We are too self-consumed, never available. Only we can fail ourselves. Life will never fail you, provided you are available for it. If you are too self-consumed, you are never available for the life to use you as a medium for doing greater things. You can keep on blaming yourself only for it. You are always self-consumed and never available for life. And you understand, the moment you start being available, another very important aspect which you'll understand spiritually is the concept of space and time.
Space and time, yes.
Now the quantum physics says that time is an illusion. There is only one blink, this present moment. Now philosophers are talking about it because you can't measure the length of the present moment. It's eternal, it's still infinite. Past and future is created by us for our understanding. If you see what's the spiritual answer, what gave birth to time, it is simply the lack of engagement with this present moment which gave birth to time, because you're constantly relating with your past, and basis that you're anticipating your future. And if this practice we are doing for many centuries, we are very rational beings. So we wanted to make sense out of this irrational movement.
Nonsense.
What makes your past and future relevant for you? They give birth to time. Because when you're measuring it through time, your past and future starts making sense for you. But if you see, time is an experiential phenomenon. Two people giving same examination of 3 hours will experience time very differently. One person might finish it in 2 hours, the other might take 3 hours, and even the time is not enough even then. It's a lack of engagement with the present moment which makes time faster as an experience for you. If you see, if you're talking to your best friend, and this is something each one of us has experienced, and if you really like that person, you will see that you're so engrossed, so present to the conversation, that after 3-4 hours you will realize that you have no clue of the time. Oh God, it's been 4 hours and we are talking.
Do we call that love?
Not
by
only
any chance?
that, sir. Look at it. You also lose the concept of space. You might be in the most crowded place in a shopping mall. Hours would have passed. You have no realization of space. You have no realization of time. Because it's a lack of attention which makes them relevant. Once you are absolutely present, you also move beyond causality. So you start, the concept of time experientially will start fading for you. The time that you experience on this planet, the moment you go out of the gravity, it's different, experientially different. So time, all I'm trying to say, is an experiential phenomenon. It's, there are saints, like the books like Autobiography of a Yogi, talks about yogis who have lived for 500 years, 1000 years. So it's an art of coming into the present. If you make present moment your permanent state, time will naturally slow down for you.
Absolutely. This is truly amazing. Now, before we get into the Q&A with the media, we've had this amazing conversation for the last 45 minutes, and it's actually kept me engrossed. Time hasn't affected, my thoughts haven't gone stray, and I've been actually concentrating exactly on what you're saying. And honestly, I didn't realize the time till I kind of looked at the time and said, oh, we've been talking for so long. So, at the end, if you had to give a message to the world, as a writer, as a cricketer also, as a legal person who's living the current life of life, what message would you like to give to the world? Something which comes right from your heart.
Now, I've already written it in the epilogue of the book towards the
Please.
end, but you have to read the entire book to understand what it is. It's a 3-step formula which talks about rest, faith, and gratitude. These are the strong 3 pillars. Because once you learn the art of rest, which I spoke about, rest in action, you will get a taste of awareness. But to sustain that awareness, you need faith, trust. The faith can either come through religion, through consciousness, through trusting, having your own self-belief. Because if your faith is shaky, you will go back to the dormant ways of being an intellect-driven society running into that thing. And so the third formula is the most important thing, because the moment you get a taste of your awareness through rest and you have developed faith to sustain that awareness, do not identify with it, things that you're doing. Always be grateful for the grace that it is giving you. The moment you identify, you again go back in duality, in thinking and developing another ego. So it's like a breath: rest, faith, gratitude.
Gratitude, yes.
Any step missing, you're out of it.
This is so beautiful, one weaving into the other. And people need actually to deep think deep within themselves. And I'm sure in today's rat race and today's everyone filled with tension, if they read this book, I think a spark will come in. And people will understand what reality is about and how to go about life the way it should be. Not the way only we want it to be, basically, because there's so much to life and we miss out on so much. As people say, we enjoy only 1% of our life. 99% of the time we are thinking, we are worried, we are hassled, and we are running. But Kartikeya, it was so beautiful talking to you. There's so much more I want to ask. But unfortunately we are running short of time. And we must give a little time to our media friends to ask questions. Shubham?
Yes, we've opened the floor for questions. Any questions from your side will be good.
One small request, we will confine the questions to the book, because the book has got so much of heart in it. So, there's so much of thought which can come out. So please, over to you all. Anybody, any questions?
Right, yeah. If you haven't read the book, we are close enough.
Sir, recording.
No. If you haven't read the book as yet, how can I be pertinent to the book only? That is fallacy number one. But coming back to this, is there anything called present? I doubt. Because the moment you say, I am in the present, it is already in the past.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So there is no present actually. It's only past or future. And presence is just the transition point from past to future, as simple as that. But theoretically speaking, there is no present. Because the moment you say, I'm in the present, I'm already in the past. What have you to say to that? It's not in the book, I'm not very sure.
It's not in the book, but I would love to discuss about it. And I've already pondered for my next book, where I'm talking about the different state of consciousness of human being, and how, from a Sanatan point of view, what do you mean by the Satyug, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga and Kali Yuga? What is this shift of consciousness which is happening? I like to put it that there is only this present moment. There is no past, there is no future. Understand? For this present moment, your past was a fiction. It does not exist right now. But we like to identify with it. We still like to identify with the 5-year-old version of us. You don't look like that. You don't think like that. You don't eat the same food perhaps. Your tastes have changed. And you do not behave like that person, but still you correlate with what happened with 5 years back with you. So it's the identification with things which takes you away from this moment, And how this shift of consciousness is happening, if you see, from Advaitic point of view, which talks about only this present moment. It says there is no past, there is no future. We are in Kali Yuga, right? The word kal in Hindi, आप बीते हुए कल को भी कल कहते हैं, आप आने वाले कल को भी कल कहते हैं हिंदी में, right? ये वो युग है जिसमें इंसान आज में जीना ही भूल गया है. We never live in the present. If you seek Satyug from Advaitic philosophy, it was a pure consciousness state where you were not identifying. We spoke about that the ultimate nature of reality, exactly what you said, sir, is impermanent and constantly moving. Nothing is permanent in this world. It is changing, right? And it is also moving, correct? And we talk about being with it, with this flow. become a participant in this flow and co-create your movements, right? Become a co-creator with it by not coming into the present moment with an expectation of how it should be. Then you merge with that flow. Now, how to do it? If you see, Satyuk was that pure consciousness state when you were not identifying with anything. Then how did memory got established? That was the first shift of consciousness from Satyuk to Dwapar. Sorry, from Satyuk to Treta. You started identifying. By identification, I mean you started labeling things. So the act of labeling requires a perceiving mind. You know, anything that I label, if I label a glass, what is glass in it? It's a component, causes and condition coming together to form a particular shape, and its function is to hold the water, and to that function I'm labeling it, giving it a name glass. Now the problem with labeling and identifying with it is that the moment next time when you see a glass, all this observation will go into a toss. Your memory will trigger to the name only. And it was, oh, it's a glass, because you've given it a name now. If I start putting pen in it, it becomes a pen stain, it's only a name. But the entire process of observation, what I'm talking about, goes into a toss the moment you identify with things. Ego is also identification. And that's why in Treta Yoga, Ravana was a product of identification, of knowledge. Extreme knowledge, but extreme identification also, ego. Right? And then the next shift happened from identification that we started desiring. The moment you identify with things, it triggers your memory to the name what you have given. Now when you started identifying, you will naturally have an urge to repeat pleasurable memories and ignore the unpleasant one. This was the next shift, which was Dwapar, which brought desire to repeat pleasurable through your memory and ignore, you know, the unpleasant ones. And if you see, the entire Mahabharata was based on desire, the war which happened. And then we became so accustomed to always relating with our past, identifying with it, and anticipating the future. This became such a habit that we forgot to be in the present, and we entered the Kali Yuga. We're never in the moment. So from Advaitic philosophy, this is purely shift of consciousness, how you're perceiving the present moment. And the shift started with identification. So all you're trying to say that the present and the past, how to be in this moment, the moment you identify with anything, like you said, even if I identify with this moment, you're out of it. You're in duality. Because you are the moment, what are you identifying with? There is only one thing. Thank you.
You see yourself only as though, I mean, we have the physicality and all that, but the thought does not have any shape. And a human being deep down is just that thought. It's not a shape. And things happen. You are like a porous net. Things pass through.
Yes.
That's what happens.
Absolutely.
So in point of fact, there is no physicality.
So I would say thought does not happen to you. Thought is your identification. Thought takes you away from the moment.
Okay.
Experience happens to you. We are experiential beings. This is the first difference I was talking about. We are not only mental beings. There is a dormant faculty
Right.
line.
I take your part, yeah.
Ji. And there's a beautiful example from your part of the world. I was listening to one actor, Jagdeep Elawat. He was also quoting another great actor. And somebody asked him a question, what is acting? And he gave a very beautiful answer. He said that consider yourself like a prism. A role of an actor is only to stand at a particular place in a particular angle, like a prism. The light will fall on you, and through you there will be colors, reflections coming out. This is acting. But remember, neither the light is yours nor the reflection is yours. If you identify with, you're out of the act, you're overacting. You're not in that flow.
I have a simpler
Ji, please.
I have a simpler explanation of what
I'm sure,
what
through
is
your
good
experience,
acting.
yes.
And I'm told that it is, in point of fact, there are two schools of acting largely in the West. One is the Methodist, the other one is experiential. If you want to be a good actor, stop acting, full stop. Just be, full stop. Period, full stop.
Beautiful expression. I 100%.
That is it. I mean, you have to just live it. Just do that. Don't pretend that I am this, I am that, and I should do this, like that. Then it becomes a Methodist
So
kind
the
of thing.
diff-
How do I look like this? Oh, this is my thoughtfulness. Oh. All these things are aids. But if you deliberately do it, it becomes the Methodist thing. It's not natural. It
Yeah.
might impress people.
Yes.
But you do something, let's say, in a movie I acted in with Ray. I was cycling to a place of interview, and on this spur of the moment, I thought, if I'm going for an interview, shouldn't I think if I'm getting late or not? So I looked up the watch while bicycling, and the director said, "That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's good acting."
Beautiful, natural.
Natural.
So this is what I'm
Because,
talking
you
about.
know,
Yeah.
it is again a thought process, perhaps, that if I'm cycling to point A to point B, I might get late, I mean, I might get a traffic jam, this, that. Shouldn't I look at the watch? And he edited just after that shot. And then it started with the interview.
This is what I've spoken, the very beginning, which I also struggled with, and I realized while writing a book, the difference between trying and being.
Absolutely.
Precisely
You're
the
imitating.
point. When you try, you're imitating, you're forcing. That's a method that you're talking. And when you're simply being, it's effortless, it's organic. I say that your genius work is always effortless.
Yeah.
If you're struggling, you're simply against the flow. You're swimming against the flow, the tide. It's not happening organically.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So,
Any other questions? Anybody? So,